QAV America, Tony, episode 25. We're recording this on the 21st of October, 2025. Well, been a big couple of weeks in the US market, Tony.
Topsy-turvy.
Donald Trump crashed the market again on my birthday, October 10th. It was his birthday present to me, which I appreciate. I'm wearing your birthday present to me, my Fight Club t-shirt. Was good because I had a broken nose and black eyes when you sent it to me. That was fun. But Donald Trump threatened massive increases in US tariffs on Chinese imports following China's announcement of stricter export controls on rare earth elements. And the market predictably crashed. And then he said 10 days later, today, when meeting with our Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese, aka Albo, for the Americans. That's what we call our Prime Minister here. That's the amount of deference you get as a Prime Minister in Australia. We call you Albo. He had a fantastic deal he's going to put together with China after a fantastic deal with Australia. I mean, I don't know about you, but I think Albo was very happy about the announcement of the rare earths deal from China because it gave him a really good chance to have a really great meeting with President Trump. They had something that they both wanted to talk about, gave Trump a good positive news release. Our former Prime Minister, Kevin Rudd, who's the current ambassador, didn't have as good a time with President Trump. He said, "I don't even know who you are and I don't like you." But it's all forgiven, he said immediately afterwards.
Yeah, it's hard not to like someone you don't know, but I take President Trump's point.
Yeah. I had a look at Kevin Rudd's face and decided I didn't like him too.
I know he's Trump's not alone, is he?
No.
But you know, you've got to say Australia saves the day again. I mean, Albo's ridden into the US with a rare minerals agreement. Oh, hold my beer. I got this. You want rare minerals? Yeah. Let's do a deal.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
We can help. Yeah.
Yeah. Gina Reinhardt to the rescue. Because she controls a lot of what we have, apparently. But just to put it in perspective, Australia is the fourth largest producer of rare earth minerals in the world at present, on track to be number 2, I believe, but China controls 70% of the global market. And even a larger share, 85 to 90% of the refining and processing capability globally.
Which is
so
important.
Even if we can dig it out the ground, we need to send it to China to get processed, probably. So,
well, there is a company in Australia called Lynas, which has got a plant to process rare earth minerals in, I'm going to say the Philippines, I think, somewhere in Southeast Asia. It hasn't gone easy. There's been a few negotiations with the local government over it, but yeah, there is a fallback.
Right. But anyway, the market recovered. It tacoed, and everything's back kind of to where it was pre the announcement. So the frothy market is back. And I did have to sell a couple of things, though, in that period out of our US portfolio, which is rare. So I had to sell DAC, Danaos, a Greek shipping company that I had owned for quite a while, and got to sell it at a profit too, but it broke our 3-point trend line sell trigger. For new listeners, we try and hold for as long as possible when we buy a company, but we do have a couple of sell triggers. One of them is a 3-point trend line. Sell, we'll track it on a 5-year month-end graph, and if it breaks through that support line, we'll sell it, and this did. But I still managed to sell it at a 5% profit. Plus, there were dividends over that period as well, which don't get factored into Stockopedia, but neither does the S&P 500's dividends, so it all tracks okay. So we sold it at a 5% profit. I also had to sell GTN, the TV guys.
Oh, really?
They came back quite a bit and also became a 3-point trend line sell. Neutral result for us, plus there were dividends factored into that one as well. And I added 2 new companies to the portfolio, VSAT, a global communications company, has defense and advanced technologies. It's up 7% since I bought it, which is pretty good. And Renaissance Holdings, RNR. VSAT's on the NASDAQ, RNR is on NYSE. It's a global provider of reinsurance and insurance companies. It's down 5% since I bought it. So they kind of 6-7, as the kids say. You don't have kids, so you probably don't know that. But 6-7, 6-7. Yeah. You think yourself lucky you don't have a 11-year-old boy right now, because that's all you hear all day, every day. 6-7, 6-7.
Okay.
And I probably should have done a pulled pork on one of those today, but I'm not, because I want to talk about eggs. But before we do that, I'm also going to talk about our US portfolio, which is not having a good time, quite honestly. For the 12-month period, it is down 17% versus the S&P 500, which is up nearly 15%. Year to date, it's down, well, about the same, actually. So it started when Trump took office. Whether or not that is coincidental, I don't know. But for the all-time, since inception, which is September 2023, little over 2 years, our portfolio is up 56% versus the S&P up 51.5%.
So we've fallen back.
Yeah, we were doing triple the S&P going back to late last year, and now we've come back to even Stevens. So it has not been a great year for our portfolio, but it's still doing okay. Like all in all told, we're beating the index. So over 2 years, which is fine. Up nearly 60% in 2 years. Like no rational investor is going to complain about that, but it has not been a good year for our US portfolio. Not that anything is done particularly badly. I mean, I've had to sell a couple of things. Everything's doing okay. It's just come back from insanely good highs. As I say every week, but I'll say it again, Willis Lease Finance Group, which is our best performer, was up like 300% late last year. Now it's only up 174%. So it's lost a lot of gains, but still it's up 174% since I bought it in November 2023. So 2 years up 174%. I'm not complaining. It's doing okay. But the company I'm going to do a pulled pork on today, Tony, is Calm, CALM. Keep calm and keep trading. Trade on.
That's what we need when the portfolio comes back to the index, isn't it?
Just keep calm. Keep calm. Yeah. Great ticker. I had to do it. I saw that. I had to do it. The company is actually called Cal-Maine, and they are the largest egg business in the US, the largest producer and distributor of fresh shell eggs in the United States. Guess you could say they're an excellent company, Tony, an excellent stock. But I'm not sure if I'm going to call this episode number one in the pecking order or the bad egg, because they've had quite a few scandals.
Oh, really? Oh, dear.
Yeah. Well, but before we get into that, a couple of things I want to point out. If anyone's thinking about investing in them, we wouldn't right now because they are a Josephine. No, actually, they've kind of rebounded from a Josephine. They were a Josephine. So from our perspective, a Josephine is a stock that is above a buy line, above our sell line, but it closed, or its price was less than the end of the previous month. It has come back from its peak, but it's rebounded from that. So it's still above its buy lines and its latest buy line. So it's probably still okay. But there is an egg commodity. You know, we love to track underlying commodities, and this has an egg commodity. There is an eggs US commodity that I found on tradingeconomics.com, eggs US, and eggs are currently a 3-point trend line sell.
That's why the price is down probably in Calm.
Yeah. Well, actually, it's a Schrodinger. So for new listeners, what we call a Schrodinger is when it's simultaneously above its buy line but below its sell line. So it is both things at the same time, like Schrodinger's cat, until you look at it and then you go, okay, well, it's below its sell line, so it's a sell. Not that far below its sell line, so it doesn't have to recover much to get back above, but it is. So the way QAV works, if we have a stock that has an underlying commodity and that underlying commodity is not in a buy position, we won't buy the stock, because experience shows that stocks tend to follow with a bit of a lag their underlying commodity. But eggs are a messy business, as we'll see, Tony. There's a lot going on with eggs in the US market and in the Australian market, to be fair.
I'll make an omelette without cracking a few eggs, eh?
See, I could have gone with that too. So many egg jokes that we could make. Eggs have been big news in the last year in the US. I remember Donald Trump talking about egg prices during his campaign, how day one, three things he was going to do on day one was bring peace to Gaza, bring peace to Ukraine, and get the egg prices to drop. He did none of those three things on day one or day two. He has got some sort of a peace deal in Gaza now, it seems. They had to flatten Gaza and kill everyone first, but some sort of a peace deal there. Although
and the egg price is down.
And the egg price eventually came down. It went up for 5 months after he got elected, but it started coming down a couple of months ago. So egg prices have surged in the last 5 years due to a combination of things. COVID was one, avian flu was another one, supply chain issues. I read that at one point, US federal agents were seizing eggs more often than drugs at the US border. I'm surprised he's not bombing Venezuelan boats for trying to get eggs to the US. In March of 2023, consumers were paying $6 to $10 a dozen for eggs, up from $1 sort of pre-COVID. So egg prices had gone nuts. As I said, Trump said he'd reduce the price when he got into office, but he tacoed the eggs. Instead, they went up. And I love an egg taco. You can't go wrong with an egg taco. It was like a breakfast burrito, basically. He breakfast burritoed the egg prices for a few months.
I love breakfast burritos.
So can't go wrong, right? But they came back down eventually. In Australia at the moment, eggs are about $5 to $7 a dozen, 11 if you're going organic. According to
cage-free.
Cage-free, well, I think cage-free, you can get cage-free sort of down the cheaper end of the range, depending on which, if you get like a home brand, Coles or Woolies, it's sort of $5, $6. According to Fred, the US BLS, Bureau of Labor Statistics, average retail price for a dozen large grade A eggs in the US is about US $3.59, which is about $5.50 Aussie, as of August 2025. So about the same there as it is here. But it is, as I said, a commodity sell at the moment. So the backstory to Cal-Maine, which is spelled Cal-Maine, surprisingly, they're not based in Maine or in California. No, none of those things. So I don't know why they're called this, but they are the largest producer and distributor of fresh shell eggs in the US, plus a range of specialty eggs, cage-free, organic, free-range, pasture-raised, nutritionally enhanced. They also sell egg products and prepared foods, hard-cooked eggs, liquid frozen eggs, egg wraps, protein pancakes, crepes, and omelettes, and they do private label for big grocers. So pretty much they do hatch to carton to store. They cover the whole egg value chain.
Do they sell chickens as well? Is it like the company in Australia called Ingham's?
No, just eggs and egg-related products to the best of my knowledge.
We should contact them. Hey, I got an idea.
Sell chickens as well? Yeah. Well, that's how they did start, though. So the history...
Right.
The founder was Fred Adams Jr. He was the lesser-known member of the Adams family. He was raised on a Mississippi farm, purchased a used truck in 1957, started delivering feed to rural areas surrounding Mississippi's capital, Jackson. not to be confused with the other Jackson,
I got married
I think
in
Michigan, from
harder
Jackson.
than a proper sprout.
Jackson Financial that I talked about on an earlier show that is based in Jackson, Michigan. This is Jackson, Mississippi. Later that year, he started his first chicken farm on leased property and began his first commercial laying operation in Mendenhall, Mississippi in 1958. In 1963, they built the world's largest egg farm in Edwards, Mississippi. In 1969, Adams Foods, as it was then known, merged with Dairy Fresh Products Company of California and Maine Egg Farms of Lewiston, Maine, creating Cal-Maine Foods, Inc., supplying eggs from California to Maine, floated on the NASDAQ in 1996. So there you go. Quite a story. It's all about eggs, Tony. Eggs, eggs, eggs. Market cap of about $6 billion. And I don't know what their current numbers are, but at the conclusion of 2019, they had a flock of 45 million laying hens. Can't afford to sell them. They're working.
Roosters.
Yeah, Chicken Run. Those right,
yeah.
Mel Gibson films. Mel Gibson?
Yeah, he was one of the voices. I think he was the voice of the hero in Chicken
Really?
Run.
Chicken Run? Wow.
Mm-hmm. Alex used to watch it endlessly.
Yeah. Anti-Semitic chicken. Anywho, yeah, so that's the Fred Adams story. Couldn't find anything else out about him. Now, they have been racked with scandals, though, and lawsuits, and there's an investigation going on at the moment, which might explain why it's showing up on our buy list as currently undervalued. During the COVID-19 pandemic, they increased egg prices over 300% from $1 to $3.44 a dozen. And they were sued by, I think it was the Texas Attorney General during this period, who said the price jumped.
Big egg lover. Big egg man.
Yeah, he loves his eggs and oil. Challenged the price jump as unjustified, but because there hadn't been any actual supply chain interruption at the time. But the lawsuit was dismissed in August of 2020 without prejudice. So that one they got away with. But in November 2023, the company was found liable in a lawsuit alleging that it colluded along with Roseacre Farms, United Egg Producers, and United States Egg Marketers to reduce the supply of eggs and increase prices from 2004 to 2008. The plaintiffs in the case were a group of large food manufacturers led by Kraft and Nestle. They filed the lawsuit in 2011 and it didn't reach trial until October 2023. And a jury found that there was a conspiracy and found for the plaintiffs. So, big egg, Tony. It was a big egg conspiracy.
The OPEC of the chicken world.
Oh, what did the OPEC stand for? Something Egg Consortium? The original...
Oil produce, yeah.
Original... Yeah, OBEC, original Big Egg Consortiums.
Yeah. Big Egg.
Yeah, Big Egg were found guilty. Then they received $44.8 million in taxpayer-funded indemnity payments for exterminating flocks due to avian influenza. The birds were killed using the controversial killing method known as ventilation shutdown plus. Basically, chicken gas chambers, I think. Speaking of anti-Semitic chickens. Oh, this is dark. It's getting really dark. And then just recently in 2025, the United States Department of Justice Antitrust Division has begun an investigation into Cal-Maine something to do with allegations of profiteering and collusion from the bird flu outbreak at the expense of small farmers, causing national egg shortage. There was even a story I read where 280,000 cartons of eggs disappeared from a truck. Some mafia dude stealing eggs. I didn't write down the notes, but it's a weird thing. Anyway, lots of really, like, eggs it's a dirty business, Tony. We were talking about
smuggling, cartels.
Yeah. It should have been like an episode of Sopranos. Yeah.
God.
Hey, you want to buy some eggs? Hey, you want to buy a used egg? Yeah, look, I don't know what's going on. Not making any allegations myself, but there's dirty egg stories all over the place involving these guys. But how they make money now, just basically selling eggs. Their FY25 revenue mix, 67% comes from conventional eggs, 27.6% comes from specialty eggs, and 5% comes from egg products and prepared foods. So mostly eggs. Eggs, and eggs. And I love eggs. I eat eggs often. Do you eat eggs? Oh, all the time I'm eating eggs. You know, I need my protein for my kung fu. I'm loving eggs. Oh, lots of eggs. How do you cook your eggs? What's your favourite way of preparing your eggs these days, TK?
My favourite's scrambled, but most days I can't be bothered, so I just fry them with the bacon.
I learned a tip for scrambled recently off a TikTok video from some chef, and it's killer. Absolutely killer. Just get a little microwave mug, you know, like a little whatever Cyric thing.
Yep.
Crack your eggs into it, whisk them up, take a little sliver of butter and like a teaspoon or a tablespoon of mayo in. Boom, microwave for a minute, pull them out, give it a little stir, put them in for another 30 seconds, depending on how many eggs you got. Boom, come out, fluffy, perfect. No cleanup, just the mug. You don't have to clean a fry pan or any of that nonsense. Just clean the, the whatever those things are made out of. What are this? What's those glass? No, it's called something else.
Pyrex.
Anyway, Pyrex. Thank you. I was going Cyrex. No, that's not right. Pyrex. Yeah, quick clean of that. Boom, Bob's your uncle. Perfect. But also, fried. So Friday night post kung fu training, my standard is fried eggs, fried in butter. You know, I make my own whole grain bread, slice of that in the butter, pull the eggs out, what's left, fry, put the bread in, flip, flop, eggs on the bread, bit of green Tabasco on it after with some sea salt. Oh, killer. Every Friday night, Chrissy and I are like, can't wait to get home to eggs after 4 hours of kung fu. Anyway, getting hungry. Haven't eaten yet today. Prepared foods. So this is a big thing. They recently finalized the acquisition of a company called Echo Lake Foods. Means nothing to me, but Americans might know the brand. That brought in $70 million of sales in Q1. Their prepared food net sales jumped 839% to $83.9 million, up from $8.9 million in the prior quarter. It's still small out of their billions in sales, but it was a big thing for them. And prepared foods matter because it's less commodity-like. So one of the problems you have with selling raw-shelled eggs is things like avian flu can come along and it can create massive disruptions to the market. But value-added formats like prepared foods, pancakes, omelets, Americans love their pre-prepared, frozen, get it, put it in the microwave type food things. Personally, wouldn't touch that with a 40-foot pole, but tend to do well in your Walmart. But for these guys, it sort of smooths out demand, potentially improves margins, nice like buffer when there's problems in the egg space.
Like the history of milk, isn't it, in Australia anyway? You know, the story of Rev Milk? Well, I think it was the Victorian state government, but it could have been somewhere else, regulated the price of milk, had to be sold for a certain amount. So the milk companies decided if they put a bit of water in the milk, it wasn't milk, and they could call it skim milk, low-fat milk,
Get out.
Rev Milk. Yeah, and put a proper margin on, put a big margin on it, so they got
Because
around
it's
the
skim.
regulations that way. Mm.
Less milk, more profit.
Correct.
Genius, really.
Genius.
I mean, dirty, but genius. Wow.
Mm. Mm.
All right, so let's talk about why it's working and why it's cheap. So, man, you're gonna love this when I get into the numbers. This thing throws off cash like you would not believe. Vertical integration, they own hatcheries, feed mills, plus buying things like grain on scale, which keeps their unit costs low. Specialty eggs carry higher unit margins, and have steadier demand for some reason. You know, people want their organic if you're into that kind of thing. Prepared foods, as I mentioned, less cyclical revenue, but they've got massive scale and footprint. They're across 40 states, so they have good deals with freight and supply. They have lots of brands and licensing deals. Again, means nothing to us as Aussies, but Americans might be familiar with Eggland's Best or Land O'Lakes. Let's try and give it an Irish spin. So it's Irish eggs, sound like pickled eggs. A lot of private label bread that they have too, doing it for the big supermarket brands. But it does have this risk of HPAI, which I had to look up, highly pathogenic avian influenza. Basically bird flu. We know that's been an ongoing problem for years now. Feed costs can go up and down. Egg spot prices, as we can see from the commodity chart I mentioned earlier, way down. They can whipsaw. The DOJ scrutiny over all of this adds some more risk to it. You know, we don't know what could happen with that. They could be hit with massive fines. Who knows? But not our problem, really. We play it as day by day, but that's probably one of the reasons why the market might be discounting it at the moment. But once I get into the numbers, as I said, just crazy numbers. So the price to operating cash flow, which is obviously the thing that we always look at first, is pretty low. It's 3.31 times. We look for something under 7. Some of the stocks that we've done recently on this show have been down to 1, so this isn't that good, but still 3.3 times is good. Dividend yield of 8.84%, which is very, very strong. Great. It's got an F score of 9 out of 9, which I
have we
don't
seen
think
that before?
No, I don't think we've ever seen that before.
Wow.
9 out of 9.
So it's pretty well managed.
Price to book is 1.7 times. Its 3-year book value CAGR is 32.35%. And when you look at the financial summary in Stockopedia, I mean, I don't know. It's not only my eggs that are hard boiled. In 2020, its total revenue was 1.3 billion. Goes up to 2025, 4.2 billion. It's the 2026 estimate is down a bit, 3.39. So it's dropping a bit this year. Time to market, sorry, not time to, I always go time to market with TTM. Trailing 12 months is 4.4. It's expected to be back a little bit this year, but its CAGR over 5 years is 25.8% for revenue growth. Operating profit, 1.27 million in 2020, which was obviously a bad year. And avian flu and COVID, lost money in 2021, 26 million. Jumped to 144 in profit in 2022, 968 million in 2023, down to 312 million in 24, 1.5 billion in 2025, and trailing 12 months is 1.6 billion in operating profit. So a 340%. I mean, it's sort of a messed up starting point, I guess, COVID, but 314% CAGR over 5 years in terms of their operating profit. Net profit went from 18 million in 2020 to 1.27 billion trailing 12 months. EPS reported has gone from 38 cents in 2020 to $26 The numbers are off the chart. Operating margin 2020, 0.9% to 36% trailing 12 months. It's like the last 5 years of they've been making money hand over fist. Now, they are being investigated as part of this. So, a lot of people are looking at this and going, whoa, you're making way too much money here. Something's going on. From my perspective, wow, leaving all that aside, they're making money hand over fist. So that's all I've got to say. I'll just run through the numbers. I will also say that the Addams family, got to do that. Currently controls 53.2% of the voting power, thanks to Rupert Murdoch-style super voting Class A shares, but have about 12% of the economic ownership in the company. So they get a point. We don't do that for US stocks because it's hard to get into the system, but they would get an extra point in our system because they control more than 10% of the business. But even said that, they have a QAV score of 0.23, which is very strong. Average daily trade of about 91 million. Price to operating cash flow of 3.3. Quality rank in Stockopedia of 99, so we score them for that. Stock rank is below 90, so we don't score them for that, but the F score, as I said, is a 9 out of 9, so they score for that. Price is below our IV number 1. It's below our IV number 2. It is not below price to book. What did I say the price to book is? 1.7 times. So it's low, but not low enough. But it does score for book value growth being positive.
We look for 1.3, don't we? In that price to book.
1.3 or 1.5?
Or below. 1.3 or below.
Oh, right. So it's low, but not low enough. Doesn't score for growth over PE being greater than 1.5. Does score for PE greater than yield. Scores for yield greater than bank debt. And obviously it's got positive sentiment in and of itself, but the commodities are a sell. Anyway, total quality score from our perspective is 10 out of 13 or 77%. We'd get an extra for the skin in the game family ownership if we could score for that. Would do even better. But yeah, unfortunately, commodity is a sell, so we'd have to wait. We'd want to wait anyway, I think, for that to right itself. But that said, tremendous little business. Sorry, by the way, I think I said market cap was, what did I say the market cap was at the beginning? I said it was like 6 billion or something. I think that was maybe Australian. 6 billion. Yeah, it's Australian. I think the market cap US dollars is what I should have quoted, is about 4.6 billion USD. So yeah, that's it. Terrific little business.
Looking at the share price too, if I'm looking at the right graph, it's a bit of a hold at the moment too. You want to see, I'm guessing that's come down a bit because of the egg price commodity coming down. So perhaps when the egg price commodity goes up, we'll see the share price become viable again.
Well, I don't know, because it's above its latest buy line in the Breadalator. I mean, it did come back a bit from its highest peak, but it fell, but then it started to recover from that. So I don't know
definitely
how you would.
Its current price is below its month-end close.
Not when I did a screenshot of the Breadalator this morning. I've got the previous month close of $94.10, current price $94.56.
Okay.
Are you looking at the Breadalator or are you looking at a different graph?
I'm looking at the Breadalator and the current price is now $91.25.
Oh, wow.
So it's come down a little bit.
It's dropped literally today. Okay. Oh, yeah. Looking at Yahoo, 91.25. Wow. Okay. All right. Well, my apologies. It has. Why did it drop? that's a large drop today. I wonder what happened. Can't see anything in the press releases or the news. Okay. There you go. Well, it's the pulled pork curse.
Still, very interesting company. Great metrics.
Maybe our Prime Minister, Albo did a rare earths and eggs deal with Donald Trump. Maybe he did a deal on egg tariffs from Australia or something. No.
Well, I mean, maybe the DOJ is saying, well, we're going to fine you unless you drop the price of eggs, because that's what the president wants. So it's a bit of a let's do a deal situation.
Okay, well then it's a hold from us and hold on the commodity price. But that said, outside of that, again, I picked it because classic boring business, right? Classic Berkshire, boring business, eggs, but they got an egg moat.
Yeah, and they, how do those businesses grow? And you outlined the growth in the last 5 years. And they're obviously tackling it. They're either buying other companies, they're getting into new markets with their pre-prepared meals, etc. So it's possible these companies can grow, boring as they are.
Yeah, although, to be fair, we were coming from a low base then 2020. But if I look at their total revenue going back 10 years, 2016, 1.9 billion, 2017 a drop to 1.1, up to 1.5 in 2018, 1.4 in 2019, 1.35 in 2020, 1.35 in 2021, then 1.77 2022 up to 4.2. So it tracked sort of, fairly boring and actually negative. It dropped down from 2016 till 2023. So whatever happened in 2023, maybe some acquisitions, maybe just collusion. I don't know. Yeah, I guess egg prices. That's what happened. Egg prices went up. Yeah. For whatever reason, legitimate or not, but
aviation flu.
Yeah. So that's all I got. That is
thanks, Cam.
Cal-Maine. After hours, Tony. You want to talk about Scorsese?
I do. I loved it. You on Apple Plus, there's a documentary series, and I've forgotten what it's called, but anyway, it's probably just called Scorsese. It's fantastic. It's his life. I've only watched the first 2 episodes, which are quite long, but it's really high quality documentary, plenty of interviews, not just with, film stars that have been directed by Scorsese and Spielberg, etc., but people he grew up with, which is really interesting. He's kind of been put into a diner in New York with his buddies from the gang when he was a kid, and they're going over old situations, which is great. But the second episode is about the making of Mean Streets and Taxi Driver and Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore, and it is fantastic. And there were things in there which I didn't know, and I've watched Taxi Driver a million times and loved De Niro and Scorsese, but I didn't realize that they grew up 2 streets apart from each other in New York. And so De Niro's being interviewed and Scorsese's being interviewed, and they said, yeah, we got together because, we had a mutual friend and I was casting for Mean Streets, and they said, you got to see this guy from New York. He's perfect for the role of Johnny and in Mean Streets. And they turn up and De Niro goes, I know you. And Scorsese goes, I know you. And then they were 2 streets apart. They knew each other as kids. De Niro was called Johnny the Hat by Scorsese's gang because he used to get around in the hat. And when you see Mean Streets, Johnny wears hats all the time in Mean Streets, and it's great. And they interview one of Scorsese's childhood friends who was the role model for that character, and he's kind of reluctant to come on and be interviewed, and but he's super cool. I don't know how old he's, in his 80s or whatever. And it's just really great to hear all these stories. I was telling you off air about how De Niro made a movie for Roger Corman, Boxcar Bertha, with David Carradine, and it was a pretty straightforward rip-off of Bonnie and Clyde. And he was out in Hollywood and California trying to break into the film circle over there, and he was getting friends with Spielberg but also Milius and Coppola and all that kind of crowd. And he made this Corman flick, and they all said, no, We don't want to know you now. You're not going to make movies for money.
They all got started
there's
with
no auteur.
Corman. Lucas and Coppola, they all worked for Corman.
Anyway, that's the series. So, yeah, possibly. So Scorsese goes back to New York. He's casting around. What am I going to do? I still want to make movies. Cassavetes, who is that famous cinema verite director, was still a friend. He walked over, hugged Scorsese. I love you, but you got to make a movie from your heart, not for cash. Scorsese says, I got this script about me growing up, mean streets, about people in my gang and my neighborhood and stuff. Cassavetes loves it. You got to cast it, puts people together. They get De Niro in. Keitel, who'd been in Scorsese's student. Because in the first episode, it goes through Scorsese like this sickly kid. Like all the other kids he's growing up with, they're all going into the Cosa Nostra and, they're all becoming some kind of small businessman or whatever. He's really sickly, can't really live in that world. And he goes through, he says, I almost died of asthma as a kid, and we used to live in a tenement 3 stories up, and I used to see the world below as everyone was playing from up above. And he went through and then showed basically every one of his movies has a high shot looking down that pans across from left to right, which is him looking out of his window down at it. And he goes through all this kind of stuff. It's fantastic. So he goes to NYU. It's up the block from where he was growing up. Falls in at the time of the Vietnam War protests, falls into the film school there, gets mesmerized by a professor, his friends go to shoot the Woodstock movie up in upstate New York, and but he's never credited on the film, and it wins an Oscar for Best Director or Best Documentary. And he's really upset because they all go to California and get jobs in Hollywood, and he's left behind. So it's always about him trying to get to be a part of a group and being ostracized. And one of the people that they interview says, you got to understand all of Scorsese's movies about outsiders who make it good. That's Scorsese retelling his story over and over and over again. So about, the Wolf of Wall Street, trying to make it big in Wall Street, getting kicked out, making lots of money. All these stories are about Scorsese. It's a really good documentary. So he makes Mean Streets, takes it to Cannes. He's had to battle all the way with the studio because it's violent. They don't want to release it. They threaten to hold the print. He threatens to break in and steal it. The censors threaten it with the next rating. He comes up with the idea eventually to desaturate all the blood colour in it back to brown and make the final scene grainy where he shoots up the pimp. And so that gives them the next rating below X, so it's R, I think, rather than X. But it gets a wider release. They take it to Cannes. By this stage, De Niro and Scorsese are just shell-shocked. What have we done? No one wants to see this. No one wants to release it. We had to fight really hard to get it to be released outside of porno, theatres and drive-ins. They stay in their rooms in Cannes. They don't go to any of the press. Jodie Foster, who's like 14 or 15, does all the press.
Here she was.
Yeah, does all the press for it in Cannes. They bug out, fly back to New York before the official showing, get back to New York, get a phone call. Hey, you won the Palme d'Or.
Fly back?
No, they didn't. It already happened. And then
right.
I think it was, one of his buddies says, hey, you got to go and see. The taxi driver opens in one cinema in New York. He says, hey, go and see it. There's a line around the block. And they're not buying gold bullion. They're going to see Taxi Driver, and it becomes a big hit.
Great film.
Full of good stories.
Well, I looked it up. It's called Mr. Scorsese, the documentary series, and it's directed by Rebecca Miller, a.k.a. Lady Day-Lewis, because she's married to Daniel Day-Lewis, right. And she's the daughter of Arthur Miller. She was born in 1962, not to Marilyn Monroe, but his third wife, Inga Morath, an Austrian photographer. Imagine being Arthur Miller's wife after Marilyn Monroe. I mean, how do you compete with that, really? Very good. Well, I don't have Apple TV, but I guess I will see it at some point.
Yeah, it's worth watching.
I'm halfway through watching Elephant Man, which I've never seen before.
Oh, you've never seen it, really?
Never seen it, because in my head it's not really a Lynch film.
Oh, it very much is a Lynch film.
Well, yes, it is as you watch it. I mean, it's not as weird as a Lynch film. I mean, you go from Eraserhead to that. I mean, it has nothing really apart from black and white and some of the just the weird sort of soundtrack. There's always like gas burning and you know, all that kind of really
Steam
offsetting.
Yeah.
But Tony Hopkins is great.
But it's also it's a very stylized way of shooting it. It's like lots of close-ups on people, lots of zoom-ins on people who have almost stilted delivery, emotional delivery. It's not natural in the way it's shot.
Didn't have that impression, but it's beautifully shot. And I mean, I do think it's more like Straight Story. It's more of a mainstream kind of Lynch film. But anyway, really enjoying it and glad I finally sat down and watched it. It just turned up on HBO Max or something. And I was like, oh God, I've never seen this. How can I have never seen this? I got to sit down and give it a watch. I tell you, Tony Hopkins is always just great.
Yeah.
I mean, his ability to deliver a line is magnificent. And Bancroft is marvelous in it. I think it was, I mean, Mel Brooks made it. I saw Lynch, I've seen Lynch talk about how Mel Brooks gave him the opportunity to make it many, many times. And he was making films as a vehicle for Anne Bancroft, and she's marvelous in it. Always loved Anne Bancroft, but I can't remember the last thing I saw her in. But she's terrific. As is John Hurt.
Patrick Cargill, from memory, I think, is in it. Does a great role. Is it Patrick Cargill, one of the other English actors?
John Gielgud's in it, but
no, the guy who originally is the owner of the Elephant Man and displays him.
So that is not Terry Jones, something Jones.
Okay. Anyway, he's good. And of course,
he is
John
fantastic.
Hurt, amazing.
Yeah,
I've always been a huge John Hurt fan. Yeah,
really, yeah, he's fantastic in it. Obviously, difficult performance to get across that kind of humanity under all of that makeup. The Freddie Jones is the name of the actor who plays the original owner, who was then in Dune, Lynch's Dune, among other things. But yes, he's a great old British actor.
Yeah.
What else have I got? I finished
film.
iRobot and loved it. Loved it. Slow start, but I'm glad I persisted with it. Oh, is there? Okay.
The rest of the robots, yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm not sure if what I read was, it felt like an anthology, but it's all the Susan Calvin stories, so I don't know.
Yeah, so it's the rest of the robots, more Calvin stories, yeah.
Well, I think that was probably everything that I read, because she dies at the end of the last one that I read.
Oh, okay.
But it was great, like the philosophical questions that he posed about alignment, what we call alignment these days between robots and humans, is it was, I mean, so brilliant. He was so far ahead of his time thinking about the issues that we're now dealing with in real life in 2025, 75 years later. Amazing. And then when I finished that, I started reading Gravity's Rainbow, Thomas Pynchon, for the first time. You ever read Pynchon?
I have, yeah, a couple of years ago, actually. I've read Gravity's Rainbow a couple of years ago, but I've read other Pynchon too.
Well, I already had it in my books, and I think it was because you told me about it, and I don't think I ever got around to starting it. So I read a thing about him in the New York Times recently, and they were talking about what a great author he was. And I think I was going to start one of his. So yeah, I'm enjoying it. It's intense.
Crazy, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, just for people out there who haven't picked it up, it's got some crazy plot lines in there about the V1 bombers targeting the bedrooms of an agent who's been sleeping with different people in London, and someone's trying to work out the probabilities of where it's going to land next. And then, but that's the plot, and that's as much as you get of it, because it just goes off into all sorts of different intricate and arcane meanderings, really.
An intense style he has. Do you know American comedian called Tim Robinson? Ever seen any of his stuff?
I don't think so, no. Wasn't there an author called, was it Tim Robinson or Tom Robinson?
Possibly. Don't know. Oh, yeah,
Even
Tom
Cowgirls Got the
Robertson.
Blues. Yeah.
This guy was on SNL for a few years, like over a decade ago, but he's had a couple of shows that we've really loved. One was called Detroiters, and one was called I Think You Should Leave. And he's got a new show called The Chair Company, which is only a couple of episodes in. We've only seen the first episode, but it's terrific. He tends to play really, really angry white men who just get angry over nothing, and bit sort of John Cleese style. Like he's just feels like the world is conspiring against him, and he has this uncontrollable anger inside of him that comes out in inappropriate ways. This new show, the Chair Company, he's a office executive and he's doing a big presentation and it goes well and he's in front of the entire business and he sits on a chair and it breaks and everyone laughs at him and it sort of ruins his self-esteem, and then he starts believing there's a conspiracy from this chair company. He starts hunting down this chair company and he can't find them because it's just a name with like a registered office, and he goes on this mad conspiratorial hunt for this chair company that made him look bad, just taking out all of his, white middle class anger on this chair company that made him look like a fool. Anyway, he's got a particular style. I don't know if everyone would appreciate it, but we really love it. Just these guys that just are angry for no particular reason. He's got a good family, wife, kids. They love him. He's got a good job. Everything should be going great, but he's just angry for some reason and he can't contain it. Anyway, I think that's on Max. Check it out.
Yeah, it sounds a bit like Curb Your Enthusiasm.
It's a bit like that, but it's different because Larry's just rich enough that he doesn't need to care what people think.
Yeah, but he gets really angry over nothing.
He does get over nothing. Yeah. Harry Vander's got a new track out. Did you catch that? Yeah,
no.
Called Devil Loose. He's like 80 and he's just come out with a new track. I think you'd dig it. It's very sort of Vander and Youngy, good riffs. Good. Called Devil Loose. He's just talking about how crazy the world is. Yeah, 80 years old, just came out with a new single. So we were talking, they had that thing from a couple of months ago, like the Triple J top Australian songs of all time kind of thing. And I don't know how many of those would be Vander and Young tracks, but there'd have to be at least 6, 10 of those in the top 100. So I didn't even know he was still around, but that was great to see. And then we have our Kung Fu grading this week, back to Kung Fu Fight Club. So we passed our pre-assessment. I think the last time I was talking to you, we had to do our pre-assessment. We passed that.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
This Friday, into the ring, 2 hours of getting punched in the face. So that should be fun.
What it is? Seriously?
Well, the first hour of it is demonstrating all of our techniques and our form. So we have to do baseball bat defense, knife. So people running at me with a baseball bat, we need to defend ourselves against an aluminium baseball bat being swung at our head.
I just had a vision of the Monty Python sketch. John Cleese.
Wet fish or a baseball
bat?
No.
I'm going to show you how to defend yourself with a banana. Come at me with a banana.
Yeah. The whole thing, the rest of the fruits. Yeah.
Yeah.
We have to do knife defense, a whole bunch of spurious techniques. But then the second hour is basically sparring. So those of us that are grading, and there's only a couple of us, are in the middle of the room, and then they have a line of 20 black belts that come in 1 minute at a time, and they cycle through, and we just keep going. We don't get a break. It's just go, go, go. People coming in and attacking you, and you're having to defend yourself against these people that are fresh. You're knackered, and it just goes on for half an hour to an hour until you fall over. And the Sifu, he wants you to tire you out to see when you're tired and you have nothing left in the tank. How can you defend yourself? Because he says, fights they're not necessarily over in a minute, right? Fights can go on a long time. So what matters is when you're exhausted, can you still keep your hands up and keep your guard up and move and handle the situation? So I will get punched in the nose many times, and it's still broken, so that should be fun. Anyway,
what
so that's
grade
this
will you
week.
be if you pass that?
This is the second brown belt for us, level 6 in our system. So the next one is our black belt. So next year we'll be ready to do our black belt, or the year after, depending on how long we go.
So is Chrissy going to also be subject to exactly the same force you're being subjected to?
Yes.
They don't take it easy on females, or they don't do female?
No. I mean, look, no one's in there to kill us. We're not. It's not like deliberately full contact, but it's, we're wearing gloves and mouth guards and stuff. And
right,
Chrissy got injured 2 weeks ago.
So it's like a real fight.
We're not trying to kill each other, but adrenaline.
Still tough.
People throw stuff. You miss stuff. You misjudge. You walk into things. Yeah, what we always get told is, in a real fight, if you're lucky, you might block one punch. He always says, it doesn't matter how good you are. There's a limited number of attacks you can block. One's always going to get through, right? So you try and shut it down on the first one, because everyone after that, there's a higher percentage that you're going to miss it and it's going to hit you. But yeah, Chrissy's been punched and kicked, and she's always full of bruises and corked muscles and everything like I am. She hasn't had anything broken yet like I have. But people will go harder on me because I'm me. Everyone.
Well, you've antagonized everyone in the dojo, have you?
Pretty much.
You're going to wear a T-shirt in there saying, come on, is that all you got?
Yeah. I do that all the time.
Good luck.
Yeah, it's good.
Wow. And you pay for that, do you?
I do. To get
you should video it.
Beaten up. Fox will be videoing it.
Yeah, should put it up. Even so we can see how to defend ourselves from a knife attack or a baseball attack and whatever else.
I'll post some video of baseball bat, knife bat defense. Yeah.
So no one's going to sneak up behind you with a baseball bat, one punch, grading over. That's how a fight works, right?
Yes. Yeah. Hard to defend yourself against sneak attacks, though, unless you're a ninja. Yeah.
I remember being in Caxton Street in Brisbane one New Year's Eve and someone coming out of an alleyway in the dark and just one-punching me.
Really? Wow.
Again. Oh, yeah. That's what you got to defend yourself against, Cam. You don't see it
What
coming.
happened to you?
Oh, I stumbled and then stood up and he'd gone. He ran back into his hidey hole, wherever he was from. And I stumbled and got up, and I remember there was a guy on the other side of the road at a table overlooking Caxton Street who came racing over. You okay, mate? Let me buy you a beer. And took me over to his group of friends and looked after me, and had a few beers with them. He's like, we thought you were gone. And I'm like, oh, wow. I just got hit and got up again. It was fine to me, but it must have been.
So guy didn't mug you or anything? He just didn't like the look of you?
Some people just like to hit a guy. Big guy.
Tall rangers. I mean, you're a walking target, really, aren't you?
I think just big guys in general. There's always some little guy out there who wants to jump
Have
you.
a crack. Yeah.
When I was younger.
You got any golf or horse news?
Horse news, I've got Quello Dorato running tomorrow, which people may not hear in time, but Wednesday at Geelong. And Double Market was scratched from the Evoca Cup on Saturday, and she'll run on Friday night at Moonee Valley.
You had any wins lately?
No, Bess was a second with Lake Forest a couple of weeks ago. So that's not too bad.
Well, good luck. Hope you get a winner.
Thank you. Yeah. And Steve Mav's in Double Market with me, so it'll be doubly good if we can get a win.
When we were talking to Gabriel, and he was talking at some point about horses, and I know we were talking about horses. We were talking about Steve and Mab, and I was going to point out at one point that you and Steve had a horse, but opportunity didn't arise. All right, have a good week, everyone.
Yep.